Okay friends, good morning everyone. And in case somebody is not able to hear me, please raise your hand around. So I'm assuming that everybody is able to hear me and I'm just starting with this. Well friend, welcome to this session on overview of CPSM Exam 2. As you know, the CPSM Exam 2 covers broadly the subject is effective supply management performance. Now the scope of discussions today, what we are going to have today's agenda, understanding the scope of CPSM Exam 2, what are the subjects which are going to be covered around, the tasks which are going to be covered in Exam 2. Learn the practical tips for taking the exam. And the next one we'll try to cover up is the best approaches to prepare for the exam, review the key chapters. So we'll try to do just like I'm sure in your college time you were doing 10 minutes before exams or 1 hour before exams. I'll try to go through the key chapters where a lot of questions comes in. So my focus will be on covering the key issues, key concepts, that's all about it. And lastly, what 15 minutes we'll keep up is question answers around. So during question answers, please raise your hands, or if you want to type your questions, I'll be very happy to answer those. So I'm assuming everybody's able to hear me, everybody's able to see the slide. Please, if any questions, raise your hand. Now, when I talk of CPSM, I mean all of you, first I want to applaud all of you who are doing this certifications. And when we talk of this certification, the qualification process is designed to measure your competency. At the end of the day, what we are doing around through CPSM, if somebody says I've got CPSM designation, it basically certifies, it tells the world that you have the knowledge, you have the skills, and you also have the abilities to undertake supply management function. So the focus is all about competency. So when you're doing all this competencies part, you're appearing for exam, learning is usually an outcome of this. This is how I take the CPSM designation. Now let's talk about the distribution of the course content. What is covered in the CPSM Exam 2? The very first chapter is about forecasting, because when you are as a supply chain manager, you want to know whether the forecast is correct or wrong. How forecast is affected by various elements around. What are the methods of forecasting around? So because at the end of the day, it's a matching of forecast, the demand and supply. So the demand is based on forecast. If forecast is wrong, you might have planned something while the forecast may be saying X item, you might have planned for Y. If the gap is too big, that means either you have more inventories or you have a less inventories around. Now under the forecasting, there are 3 tasks. Total number of questions are 19. Why I'm going through the number of questions is to give you a focus, which area you need to put more focus on. So out of 150, 19 questions are from forecasting. 3 tasks are there. You may call them sub-chapters. The first chapter has 6 questions. Second is 7. And the last is 6 questions. The next chapter is about logistics. So logistics is all about distribution, storage, movements. At the end of the day, as you know, the key principle of procurement is right location, right place. So the right place comes up from logistics. Am I able to move the goods around? And obviously when you're moving the goods, warehousing, storage, all that becomes part of it. So there are 4 tasks in this, or 4 sub-chapters in this. First has got 4 questions, then 5 questions. Third chapter is 5, and the last is 5. The next chapter is about materials and inventory management. So this is one that we will talk about the materials part. So an inventory management part, again in this one, there are 4, total number of questions are 19. So 4 tasks. First task is about 6 questions, and then 4 questions, another 4, and last is 5. When I look at the next one, which is to me is a very key one, and a lot of common sense is involved in the next 4 chapters around organizations and the department assessment. Many of you have been obviously have been dealing with this. I'm sure your performance assessment in your department is also part of it. You're also trying to develop your organization strategy. So based on strategy, you develop your performance indicators. So those performance indicators, your own assessment, and at the end of the day, somebody is doing auditing for you. And then based on the audit, whether you accept or not accept, there is how do we finalize that part now? What are the future course of action to make an improvement? So this chapter, I would say, is a good winner. 26 questions, a lot of common sense. I'm sure persons coming from any background can really pick it up. So my focus today will be really on this chapter in much more detail. So there are 4 sub-chapters in this, 7 questions, 6, 7, and 6. The next one is about planning part. Obviously, as a procurement person, when you are dealing with a bigger program, you have to plan upfront for your department, for your organization as a whole, what items are being procured on a repetitive basis, what price have been paying around, which supplier is not doing well. It's all part of your planning around. So planning is again another common sense question. 15 questions, 2 sub-chapters, one 8 questions, second is 7. Here also I'll put up a little more focus depending on the time available today. Product and service development. Obviously, I know this is very something unusual, you may call it, whether the supply people are really involved in the product development. While today is now the craze that any new product has to come up around, they want to take the benefit of the knowledge of the supplier. So if you want to take the benefit of the suppliers, naturally, you are the key contacts for them. So R&D cannot come with the new products around without the help of you people around. So the product part, the service part, if I want to develop a new product, how do I develop it? How do I launch it? Those are 12 questions, 6 and 6, 2 sub-chapters around. Project management. Some of you may be thinking, what is project management to do with supply management? But you know very well, in many organizations, procurement is more like a project activity. Let's say if you're trying to set up a big highway and I'm made in charge of this one, and all about procurement. So the project procurement management is also a major content is all about procurement. I'm setting up a hospital. I'm in charge of it. The major content, whether to make the hospital building, whether to buy the capex, whether to buy operational equipment, is all about our projects. So in short, procurement plays a key role in project management as well. So we'll walk through those 19 questions are there. There are 2 sub-chapters. Again, this is a very easy one, I would call it, very common sense. And last one we will have is quality, quality, quality. Here the quality, I'm not more focusing on the product part, but more on the supplier. The suppliers which you're trying to identify. How do I certify a supplier? Is the supplier good? Can I depend on this supplier? So that's a part of the supplier quality part, we'll talk about it. I'm buying from a supplier, first lot comes very good, second lot is very bad. So this is where the quality part we're going to focus on. There are some. So in short, total is 150 questions, and this is where I would focus when I come back later on, depending on the time. Organization development, department assessments, planning. As you know very well, when you were doing in your college time, 15 minutes before exams or 20 minutes before exams, I'll take up the key questions. And those questions, based on my experience, come very repetitively. So I will expect that all of you, when you go back, you'll try to understand whether you know those questions around. I'll again put those questions. I'll try to clarify some of them, because my focus would be that when you finish this today's session of the webinar, you go with some key concepts around. And once you've picked up the concepts, I think nothing can stop you in passing out the questions around. Well, friend, with this, let me move to the next one. Now here sometimes question comes to me, should I use professional series or should I use study guide? Let me make very clear, study guide has been structured only for the exam. It does not substitute any major notebook, textbooks around. Sometimes if you want to get the key concepts, you have to get professional series, and the professional series are in case you feel there are some other books available in the market which can clarify those concepts like negotiation concepts around, inventory management concepts around, quality concepts around. I know there are tons of books available in the market, but professional series condenses all those concepts which are in the study guides into one book. So I leave to the people around. Some people feel whether I need this or not. Again, I want to emphasize you need a textbook to understand the concepts around. So reading study guide alone may not be sufficient. For some people may be sufficient. Those who are really seasoned people, understand the subjects very well. For them, study guide is more like a structure and appear for exam. Now here comes some exam hints. I'll take a few slides, 4 or 5 slides on practical tips around. Sometime when you're appearing for the exams, I know the question is very difficult. Don't struggle too much. Just move on. Try to do the simple questions first. Keep your time at the end. So don't fight with the very first question and then your mood may be changed, and I think it could affect your mindset also. Relax and manage your time and processes. Read the question carefully. This is very, very important. You have to put in your mind what the question is. Comprehend the questions in your mind. And once you're comprehended, what is the focus of the question, I think you'll be able to do well. And keep in mind, there's only one best answer. Sometimes it helps you. There are 4 choices, you know very well, these 2 are not possible. Get them out. So try to focus on few. So if you can get those distractors, out of 4, if I know 2 are not possible, then I'm left up with only 2. I have to find the choice between the best 2 around. Exam hints again I have got around is, I think I can skip this. I have touched a little bit because of the time. I'll just skip this, but you can read at your time. Now the question comprehension is very, very important. You have to really comprehend the question. What is the focus of the questions around? Next is the best answer. There's only one best answer. I know you will find, even I get sometime, when you're reading and you say, okay, this could be also possible. But sometimes I think the gut feeling helps you. The very first one which you feel is correct, stick to that. As I told you earlier, the known distractors, out of 4, I know most of you who have done very good study around, they can easily say, guys, these 2 are not the possible answers. So get them out. Then take 2, and I know in 2 you will be getting stuck up sometime. But then take your gut feeling, understand which one is the best one. Now here is sometimes we are too stressed. I have seen people, very smart people, very good people, very intelligent people, but they are too stressed. I know it's very demanding, very intense exams. This is why I said to you, I applaud all of you who are really appearing for the CPSM. It's very demanding. I have seen all the type of tests, all possible competition tests I have seen around. This is very demanding because you are doing in one exam basically 7 to 8, actually in this case 8 skill sets. So please avoid last minute cramming. Once you are well studied, you don't have to worry. Answer the easy question as I told you first, then go back. Tense and relax hands. This is very, very important. Sometimes we are too tense. So sometimes you have to use the tense and the relax. It's a good exercise for the muscles. Keeps your blood circulation good and keeps you happy on that. Visualize successful completion of the test. Periodically take few deep breaths to relax. Shut your eyes for a second. I know the time is short, but it sometimes helps you. You can keep stress at the manageable level. Take time to relax before the exams. Why I'm putting pressure on this? Because this is straightway 2 hours, 45 minutes. Concentrating each and every second. I know some people may not be used to 3 hours sitting, focusing on something. So for them, these small exercises helps them to remove the stresses around. Again, as a confidence builder, I would say around, you pass with a scaled score. Don't have to think of 100% perfection. None has done so far 100% perfection. So don't worry from that angle around. Once you're done well studied, most questions will be easy for you. Know how test questions are formatted. The format of the question you should know it. How the questions are formatted. I'll soon come in the next slides around on the formatting part. Your first inclination is usually the strong choice. If you're well studied, then I think your first inclination is normally the best choice in the objective type question. Don't let self-doubt affect your choices. Sometimes doubt do comes. I'm working in a particular organization. In the organization I've followed with those guidelines and our books are saying different way, sometimes we are carried away by those guidelines around. Don't get bogged down, keep moving, use the time to go back over the test around. Now here is again another study tips I would call around, which is called SQR3, surveys or scan the capture the concepts. What I will do is today again I'll walk through some of the concepts on the key subjects. So you have to survey, like any books in the college time you used to make a notes, and before the exam you will read the notes again and again, and not the cramming part, understanding whether notes I've understood. So capture the concepts in each chapter, whether you're doing on quality, whether on inventory management, capture the key concepts around. I will try to walk through with you again after a few slides. Question your knowledge. I have done some framing of questions this time. For each chapter I have framed some questions. So my request to you will be, even if I have covered it, when you go back, question yourself, same questions, whether you are able to answer them. If you are able to answer, I can assure you, you will pass. Nothing can stop you. So the question which I have framed further in the last 8 or 9 slides you will see, please question yourself. Read it, make notes, outlines, recite yourself the same notes, and then review again whether you really understood the question. And you are right, I mean, not all studies equal. Some people go with the concept, some people just walk through it. Everybody has a different study skills around, but my request to you will be, study skills mean whatever you read, understand it. If you're not understanding it, either send us an email, call us sometime, or walk through the professional series. That's the way to build up your skill set. Another thing which comes up very important is time. All tests. I know some people are very bright, but they can, given more time, they can do very well. So here my request to all of you is managing the time. Keep in mind, you have 1 minute on average per questions. Some questions are short, like recall questions. Some questions are comprehensive, which are longer. Some questions are application based, which are half a page. Somebody will say it takes me 1 minute to read the questions, and then answering in 1 minute, it becomes very, but that's the way, you know, all competitive tests are like that. So this also gives you again same concept. We call around study the books, review yourself, take a test. The test is nothing but you have the diagnostic test, analyze your test, and then plan, develop your strategy for studies. So studying as it is will not carry you much. You need to develop a strategy, what to study and how to study, where you are weak, where you are strong. So that's what you need to identify around. Now here again, some people do ask, do I need to get some more books on this? I will say study guide helps many people who are really very knowledgeable. For them, study guide alone helps. But sometimes you're weak on some areas, you need a professional series. But this profession, you know it more than me, is changing every day. New ideas are coming around, new concepts are coming around. So reading some magazines, particularly the ISM magazine, which is monthly given to all the members, we are sharing with everybody. So that supply magazine, I think I'll request everybody to read it. A lot of good articles are there around. ISM glossary of key supply management terms. I know don't have to buy the books, but online, those who are members can easily access it, can read those things around. Now coming back to the type of questions. Now you have closed term question. I know many of you must have done exam 1, but I'm still walking through you closed term questions. 4 possible choices. Which one is going to be the best? You click it. Sentence completion is like a fill in the blank. Which one of the following can fit in that? Except format, when you are given some questions, okay, all of these except this. Now which is the except one? You have to answer that. So that's except one. The most, least, best, you're all conversant. And the master list form, and the questions are basically answers are given first, and then there are questions which has to relate with those answers. Now here again come exam question processes. Recall questions. So recall question is basically whatever you have crammed, whatever you have read the books, what is bill of lading, what is this? You know very well this is the correct answer. It is basically cramming. Comprehension requires some novelty, because the question has been framed such a way it could have different meanings around. Some people who are not good in English may have difficulties in comprehending questions around, and they may lead to wrong answers. So you have to understand. I think in the comprehension part, the last line of the question is very crucial. So if you read the last line, try to understand what the guy wants, then I think you'll be very closer to that. Last one is application. This is no different than case study type. It's a real applications. Keep in mind that all questions, whatever you have gone through it, will never get repeated. ISM hires people to rework on the question every time. So no questions get repeated again. So always you get new chunk of questions. And as you know, people appearing for exam with a random approach, each one even sitting two candidates next to each other gets a different bunch of questions. Now here I'm coming up again. Now I'm looking at the time, so I hope I've touched up the practical points. Now next one I want to take up is next 25 minutes on subject by subject key concepts around. I'll walk through the key concepts in all the key areas around, and my request to you is when you go back, please ask yourself same question whether you understand or not. Now let me walk through quickly. Type of economies, the mixed economy, the open economy, the closed economies. So you know all those things around. So please, one question could be on this all the time. What is the business cycle and what are its phases around? You know the business cycle, you are on the top of the business, then suddenly the recession comes in the country, then we reach the bottom of the recession, the trough, then we come back, as you have seen in the US economy, Indian economy, everywhere economy-wise, there's a cycle in each country. Sometimes the country is really going on the booming side, then the recession comes, people lose job, then we come the trough, then we go up. Understand those phases around. So this chapter of forecasting talks about a lot about economics also. Economic conditions, the political conditions affects your forecast. So this is why it's important to understand these few things around. Now transportation trend, as you know, people want whatever they are sending, they want a full load trucks around. So intermodal concepts is coming up. Multimodal concepts are coming around. Then there's a concept, this question you will find very oftenly, define leading, lagging and coincident indicators. So the lagging part, so it basically gives you what are the leading indicators. I'm an economy. I want to see whether my economy is going to do well or bad. My stock market is going up. It's a leading one. I mean, that gives me some confidence my country is doing well. Lagging means which impact comes later. The country's economy is going down, the impact could be, and a lagging condition could be unemployment will go up. Coincident indicators when things goes together side by side. Country's economy moves up, my currency also moves up, so that's the way we call coincident indicators. They're all economic points around. So some people may be thinking, what I have to do with the supply manager with this? But keep in mind, when you as a supply manager with the leader part, you want to plan your supply, you want to see what is happening in the economy. Government policies, then we're talking about the type of analysis used in the market analysis. I'm sure you must be all knowing the different type of analysis in this. So there are different type of forces which affect the market around. How many new suppliers are coming to the market? Who are the other people who are competing with you? All those things comes up into the pictures around. Next question, which I think you may find some questions all the time, sourcing strategy. You know very well 2x2 matrix. We call them as routine items in the 4 2x2 matrix. Leverage items, I'm sure you're done in exam 1, but this question still could come up. Leverage item, strategic item and bottleneck items. So to keep in that, those are 4 types of purchases around. Keep in mind when to use, where to use, that concept should be clear to you. Now sometimes we say, okay, why supply management should have analytical knowledge and financial skills. This is where I'm coming back again. Procurement or supply management is a very knowledge based now. When 30 years, 40 years back, when I look around, it was not a knowledge based. It was a process based. I know if public sector, because I'm dealing with them also, there it is still a process based. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, end of the story. So you don't need a rocket science for that, but in the private sector, you know very well, this field is becoming a very knowledge base. If you have analytical skill, the financial skills, if I can find what is my target price, what is my should cost, as you did in exam 1, I can do a better job in this one. Now here again I will ask you in the forecasting, again I'm still on the chapter 1 out of the 8 chapters. Again I'm working on the concept part. Please go through the following terms. Some 1 or 2 questions could be there on the terms around. What is PPI? What is CPI? What is implicit price deflator? Interest rate? Capacity utilization? GDP? Balance of merchandise trades? Balance of payment exchange rate? I'll touch few things around very quickly since the time is limited. The price index is, you have your own price and you know very well your old prices around, you're comparing with that. Price of 2000 versus price of 2000. Then again, production price index. So I'm in a manufacturing company, I'm making Swift car, I know my price is today this much. 4 years back was this. Has it increased 10%, 15%? It's a comparison percentage. CPI, you know, consumer price index. We always come up in India, the inflation is going up or down. We have a basket of items which a normal item uses at home to survive. So those basket of items, it could be potatoes, onions, whatever you may call around. If the price of each one is taken around as a bulk together, then we see how is the CPI going up or down. Then there are interest rate, capacity utilizations. So the capacity utilization means I'm in a production plant or even in the office. My people are utilized fully, my machines are utilized fully or not. That's the utilization part. Gross domestic product, we all the time talk around. The last quarter of our GDP has gone to 5.7, moved from 4.9. So GDP is a great indicator of the country's economy. Balance of merchandise export and import, the gap of the two is called balance. Balance of payments could be the money which is coming from outside and the money which is going out from India as a part of our import. Like in this year's, FDIs are coming around, so the balance of payments could improve around. Exchange rate, you are all conversing. So please remember these things around. Now here we come to the logistic chapters. I know I'll give last 15 minutes on these questions. So again here I would ask you on the logistic chapters, please remember these 5 modes of transportation. Understand when to use, where to use. Like the 4 modes of transportation, all of you know: air, road, train, water, sea waters, and last is the pipe. I know in India we don't use much of pipe, but in like some houses, the gas is being distributed through pipe. We were thinking in good old days to connect from Iran to India, the whole gas connection, the oil connection, the crude connections, the crude oil could come. That's the way piping. In Russia, you will see in the whole Europe, the gas and oil is distributed through the pipes. Even in some of the coal mines, the coal slurry is passed on from one place to another place through pipes. Advantages, disadvantages of each one. I don't want to go into depth, but I know you will use your common sense to get over this. Then you have to also understand what is shipper, who is customer, who is the supplier, and who is the freight forwarder. Freight forwarder is the one who is taking care of your transportation. Who is the one who takes from 10 companies the business, puts them together and tries to ensure the goods are reaching at right place around. Then comes the next one is what practices leads to gain in managing the shipping routes. So there are some good practices around. I think I'll move to the next one, which is again very important around Incoterm, international commerce terms. Please go through it. This is very important around. The purpose of these 3 letters like X-Works, FOB, CIF, DDP. So these are the 3 letters which basically answer you many questions. Who's taking care of risk? What are the responsibility of the shipper? What's the responsibility of mine? What are the responsibility of the freight forwarders? Everything can be done with those 3 letters people can define. So these are been developed by International Chambers of Commerce in Geneva. So these are the wonderful tools. Please remember them. It will go a long way if you are involved in international business. Anybody who's involved in international business, import, export, Incoterms are important around. Another one is also important around because of nowadays the terrorism part. Your goods are coming via Somalia, this, that. the risks are there around. So that's what we call C-TPAT. So C-TPAT is a custom trade partnership against terrorism. Your things might be stolen on the way. So those way you made a partnership with few countries, and that way you protect your goods around. Then comes the different consideration to select the mode of transportation. Here I leave it to you, and then the last I would say, but please remember all these things. If some of you don't know it, please get these concepts clear in your mind. Define multimodal shipments. Why multimodal? Why do I call this multimodal? See, in the good old days, it used to go in a one box, move from truck to train, train to air to mule. It goes on like that. But now it all goes into one containers. Nobody opens it. Things are much safer, less slippage, less theft. That's a beautiful thing about this. Another thing I want to move on the material. So I've covered 2 chapters, the key concepts. If some of you have missed it, please go back, read it, and or send me the questions around. Now, another thing is we're talking about materials and service standardization. This is very important around. So this is a part of materials and inventory management. See, sometimes you will find in many offices around when you are sitting in charge of inventory, you will find many items are same, but there are few variations. Then the question comes, why do we have so many varieties around? Can I cut down the varieties around? Can I standardize on this? Can I simplify? 2 different things around. One is standardization. I might be having a special nut and bolt, which nobody makes it. I might be having a standard filter, non-standard filter. But if I can, let's say I'm in an automobile company, I'm using an air filter, which is purely designed for my car. But there is on the market, there are other filters available. Can I use those of purulators? Can I use of someone else? Or if I've got 10 varieties, can I cut down the varieties to 10 to 2? That's called simplification. So one is standardization, one is simplification. Then next question comes the advantages, disadvantages. I think again in the common sense. So once you're simplified, your inventory level goes down, your batch size becomes bigger, the cost goes down. Those are the advantages around. Now next comes the discussion, procedures, steps in applying standardization, simplification. Here the knowledge of value engineering, value analysis will go a long way for you to cut down to basically help you in simplification and standardization. Now next question comes identify some application of standardizations. Now these applications I would say in every industry is around, basically hardwares, a lot of MRO items, a lot of production standard items around, could be there around. Sources of standards. Now standards have been done by many organizations. One is called ISO. They have developed wide range of standards. Then American standards are there around, Indian standards are there, European standards are there, United Nations has developed some standards. So wide range of standards are there for wide range of products and services. So keep in mind that could be used to cut down your varieties and go for standardization. Now here comes again under the M&I. When I say M&I, mean basically I'm talking materials and inventory management. Now we're talking of warehousing and inventory management. Here I'll talk about RFID. You know about the barcodes. I know most of you when you buy in the department store, you have the barcodes around. So barcode means I have to sit down, code it, then enter the information around. I have to read and write. In RFID, even the item could be out of my sight. These could be even connected through my satellites. So basically this item might be coming with the RFID code from one part of the world to another part of the world. I can trace it, where it is. Actually someday back we were even thinking of using RFID in the health sectors where each machine, whether it's an X-ray machine, whether it's MRI machine, CAT scan machine, we want to put an RFID where I can really check how many hours the machine is used, how many hours the machine was down. So beautiful things, it's a wonderful tool. 3-4 years back I won't have said this, but now the cost has gone down. There are 1 or 2 companies in India who are really promoting this. The cost has gone down, the benefits are enormous. So I will again advise to go for RFID. So radio frequency identification. There's another term also you might see, UID, which is used by defense sector. That is basically again identification, unique identification. Let's say I've got ammunitions. I want a unique ID. If somebody steals it, I can trace it even to the home, the guy where it has taken. So I can trace till it the graveyard, So that's the way you can trace it. So what is the business continuity planning? You know very well, it's basically ensuring that my supply chain will not stop. I'm in charge of the supply chain of a company where hundreds of workers are standing up, assembling one after another products. If line stops, all the people become jobless. So I have to ensure the continuity part around. You know the case, what happened in tsunami, what happened in those many automobile companies. The parts were not coming, the whole delivery was delayed by months and months. That's what we call the continuity planning. The risk management also part of it. The next comes is the objectives and the key consideration when you're doing the supply management system. You know very well the warehousings are not simple. Today we have got 10,000, 15,000 varieties. Some items have become old, some have become obsolete. I have to check every day how much is the quantity of each one. My system shows one. Actual may be different. So the warehouse management system is key. So that's very important around. So that system, how do we decide it? What are the features you should have it? Try to understand a little bit more into depth of it, I will say. Now the warehouse facility design, should I have a warehouse going upward vertically? Should I spread horizontally? What type of facility should I have it? Should I have an automated pickup? The guy goes and picks the item around? Depends on your need, depends on your size, depends on the complexities around. Then we have storage locations around. We could have random locations, we could have fixed locations, all those types are there around. Now customer requirements, why the customer requirement varies. Sometimes customers are asking 10 pieces, then they're asking 20 pieces. It varies too fast around. So there are different reasons around. I think I'll just push on this. The customer requirement, then we go to the features of the WMS includes. WMS must include the tracking and tracing part as well. So that part also should be there around. WMS should also include, I would say, the warehouse management system. If I want to do some performance indicator, that should be built into this around. Then I can also do the strength and weakness opportunity threat analysis. If I'm trying to design a new one, I must do SWOT analysis for that. Then there are, as you know very well nowadays, some people are owning the warehouses, some are public warehouses. They rent it, they lease it. It all depends on the cost. It depends on the long-term plan, medium-term plans, what you want to have. Then we are moving to organization development. This is the key areas. A lot of common sense. I'll spend a little more time on this. Articulate the steps in the monitoring of performance measurement. So there are many steps around. Name and give example the 4 categories of performance metrics. See, in each area around there are performance metrics. Performance metrics could be in finance. Everywhere the finance is part of it. You might be in a supply chain, there's a finance also. Then there's something about your operation side, your procurement side, or your supply chain side. There's also about the delivery. There are also about the profit, what you're making, how much cost you're able to cut down. So those are the broad performance metrics around. So then you have to identify the criteria for a good performance measure, and then define KPIs, the key performance indicators, supply management examples, performance measurement systems. Some of you must be very clear about the balance scorecards. There are different systems which can be used for measuring the performance part. What are the corrective actions? So at the end of the day, you want to do the corrective action. Well, these were my performance indicators. These performance indicators I'm doing bad. My delivery is not, let's say delivery is my performance indicators. And I have put down, I will cut down the delivery to 7 days. But on average, it is becoming 15 days. I have to cut down. My prices, I promise that I'll cut down my cost of those items which I was buying last year by 10%, but it has not gone down. So that's the way I could have my indicators around. Then what actions to be taken care of. Now then comes the developed performance. So again, the performance measures have to be there around. This is where I think you can use your own personal experience around. When you were hired, or when you're sitting as a manager, or when you're sitting as a staff, how do I measure the performance of each one? What criteria is around? How do I evaluate my employees around? In each employee, I'm sure you must be evaluating on a quarterly basis. Yearly basis, you must be giving them the performance indicators. And those performance indicators has to align with the organization objective and strategy. Keep that factor in mind. So you have an organization objectives, you have the goals. Based on that, you have designed your own goals for the department, and then you are passing on to your employees. And that has to be checked and accessed every time. Then lastly, once you have done all this, the next thing comes is the audit part. You want to measure it and report it. So, audit people come, they say, oh, are you doing well? These are the indicators you were given. Where do you stand? Somebody has to validate it. The audit could be wrong. Then you have to validate it, whether you're accepting or not. Then somebody has to make a report. And once you have agreed, then the report is made around that your performance in this department is up to the mark or not to the mark. As a department I'm talking. What action has to be taken care of? Maybe in this department we are not complying with the guidelines. So some ethics parts are missing around. Some remediation has to be taken care of. Then we find why we are doing this. Then we say, okay guys, we are weak on these areas, we need to do a training part of it. So that's where the training components bridges up. So then again, another issue which comes up in this one is about the supplier diversity. I know some of these factors may be new to us. These are mostly in the US. Are we taking care of supplier diversity? Suppliers could be from the minority teams, women-owned companies, people with disability around, all those factors around. Social responsibilities, ethic policies. So those are also part of my audit, whether I'm complying with those as per my guidelines. This is how it comes. Now, in addition to this, there are then once you're analyzing and resolving the issues raised, audit has raised some issues. So list reasons about the audit, name the type of audits. Now there are different type of audit. Audits could be done internally, can be done by an external audit like PricewaterhouseCoopers or something, or KPMG or someone who does the audit for you. But then on top of it, these are ISO and GAP and SOX. Now, I won't expect that these questions will be coming up GAP and SOX to you, because in the new guidelines we are removing these which are pertaining to Americans concept, but I think good to know, many of you who are working in MNC, those companies which are listed in the stock exchange. So they are also going through the GAP, that is generally accepted accounting principle. In accounting it could be played around. So sometimes they want to see your accounting processes are good. Then there is this SOX Act also around of 2002. They want to see the people who had done the auditing, are they above board? Can their report be relied upon? So that's what SOX does around. ISO is something different. ISO technically deals around that you're dealing with the supplier, you certified the supplier, or you are certified by ISO as 9001, but then are you keeping track of it to maintain your 9001? So that's ISO audit around. So that audit, I'm sure many of you have got ISO 9001. You know very well this is very valid for 3 years. Audit comes from every year. They give a report to you to make improvements around. So well friend, this covers the OD part, organization development. 26 questions comes in this chapter. A lot of common sense. So whatever I listed down, please go back once you're done this, whether you really understand all of these or not. Next is the planning part. Now planning part may be easy for those people who are coming from production backgrounds. Some of you are not done in the production, may be tricky, but again, very basic common sense. Let's say if I'm working in a production shop, I have to make, like in a cycle company, I have to make 1 million bike. Each bike may have 200 components. What component to make in, when to make it, from where to buy. I remember the days when we used to do all this from the bill of materials, writing down each and every, very manually, no computers. That's what we used to do around the planning. And then even after doing, we found, oh my gosh, the line is moving, but we don't have these parts. And then everybody will run like a firefighting. Then later on, the computers came in 80s, In India, we started, I remember Tata's in 75, 76, MRP. So same thing which we were doing manually, it came into materials resource planning around. So then manufacturing is MRP2 came up around, which is the improved version of MRP, where we tried the components of finance also built into that, other resources built into that. ERP, I'm sure all of you know, all the younger generation, they have started with many of them with ERP. So ERP is enterprise resource planning. Instead of doing only for productions, separately for HR, separately for finance, all the activities, all the legacy software have been integrated into one, which is called enterprise resource planning. Now we are coming with ERP2. I know still in India it has not come up much. I still have to see any company where we are, the ERP boundaries is within your own four walls. Now if I extend the boundary of the four walls, covering one side customer, one side supplier, it becomes ERP2. Then the DRP comes, DRP1, DRP2. This is something to do with the distribution. Distribution resource planning. This is very commonly used for all the retail companies. I will say half the retail companies are using it, but many are moving into this direction now. So there I can use DRP1, DRP2 is very good. If I have 30, 40 retail shops around, I want to do a distribution planning on a combined basis from a one, I need DRP2. Then there are different add-on modules have come up on ERP, wide range of new applications are there. I'm sure each one of you know your new applications. In addition to HR and finance and supply chain management, there are much more new applications come around which can be added into this. Now the next one is if you're trying to talk about SDLC, sometimes questions may come up around the guys, system development life cycles. So you have to really do around it. What are the issues in this? How do I design it? How do I develop it? Test it, like any software developer. You design, you develop, you test it, and after testing you launch it. So that's a part of the system development lifecycle testing. Next comes the matching of the demand. I'm just looking at the watch so that I don't skip much. Here I can skip it, a little bit on this Jenkins model, regression model. I can take this up. Bullwhip effect, I hope all of you know it. Please. One question could come up on the bullwhip. You can imagine in a chain, one side is a customer, retailer, distributors, manufacturers. So customer says my fluctuation could happen this. But by the time it reaches the other end, the fluctuation could be much more, like a whip. So that's why we call it a bullwhip effect. So this is what we want to cut down the whip effect so that I'm not overdoing it or not doing the less. I'm just skipping this guys just to go over. So this gives you broad pictures about MRP, MRP2, ERP, DRP. Now developing a new products around product and service. So I'm developing a new product. So naturally this is where I want to involve my suppliers. Supplier means procurement people, supply chain people. They get involved into this. Then I ramp up the strategy to implement. Then how do I implement? Now the project management, as I told you, there are some complex activities around setting up a hospital, setting up infrastructure. Procurement is the key component. Supply management is a key component. So in those situations, project management knowledge is very important around. So there are key components: project initiation, project planning, project execution, then we're talking about project monitoring and project close. So then when we're doing this implementation, you need to do the benchmarking, process mapping. The only question sometimes could come on the subject like process costing, and that could happen on a process mapping around. So those I think you need to remember. Here, the quality part, that's the last chapter. I'll just take a few minutes before I open up the floor for the Q&A. I know I've skipped a few minutes. Supplier certification. First thing is approved supplier, preferred supplier, partner supplier, certified supplier. Approved means you have some guidelines. I will not approve any. You have guidelines, what type of company you're looking around, what type of management of the company around, what type of production, what type of people. You have some guidelines. That's what you call approved supplier. But then you start dealing with them. Approved, you're not dealing. Approved is approved. Then you start dealing with them. Then you find this guy is giving me good delivery, good performance, good reliability. You say, okay, preferred. Then after preferred, then you say next stage comes, you want to make them partner. That's more like a strategic supplier. So those becomes your preferred partner suppliers now. And then after partner becomes certified supplier. Certified means basically they are extension arm of yours. I've looked at the quality system of the company. Beautiful, well done. I don't have to put my inspector there. So whatever they make, I take the item as it is and fit it. So I don't need a separate police control on that. So their certification is good enough for me. So next comes GMP. This concept was started by Good Manufacturing Practice. This was coined by WHO, World Health Organization. This was coined by only for the health items. You know, manufacturing health item and manufacturing a car or electronic item is totally different. Health means we're dealing with the people. The risks are much more. The claims could be much costlier. So this is where the GMP certification is very, very important around. So this is why when anybody is making some medical supplies, GMP certification is a must. Then you all know about ISO 9000. I will not get much more into this. So 9001, 9002, 9003, all these. Then comes explain the acceptance testing. Then we have several type of benchmarking. This is very, very important around. I remember my time. We used to benchmark with all the time with the competitors. I remember in Tata's we used to make the fridge, those days Voltas. Everybody's model I could tell you online, even the air conditioners, what quality they are, where they are good, where they are bad, what are their practices, from where do they buy. I could be full like encyclopedia of my competitors, from where they buy, how they manufacture, what are their good features, our good features, the bad features, and our management wanted all the time to be on the top of it. So that benchmarking is to know the practices which we can help us to improve ourselves. Then there are different quality tools, histograms, you all know, cause and effect, like a fishbone thing, Pareto Charts. And then there are different explain N7, there are different 7 things now. Whenever there's a problem in production, you see, okay guys, or even in servicing, you find this problem is happening repetitively. You want to find why it is happening. How can I link with what it is happening? Is it because of the machine? Is it because of the person? Or the knowledge of the persons? That's affinity diagrams around. Then the tree diagrams around. We say, okay, if I do this, what are the implications? If I do this, what are the implications? That's the way we do it around. Lastly, the statistical process control. You know Six Sigma. This became this concept very, very popular. Motorola started around using the statistical techniques to cut down my rejections. You know Six Sigma, where we thought around the rejection defect rate should not be more than 3.4 parts per million. That's what we're looking around. Then we're talking about developing the measure quality and this and this around. So identify various measurement methods, various quality processes, and explain the purpose and steps in this. Well, friends, I want to thank you all for the patient hearing. Please put up your questions, and you can raise hand, you can type it. I'm there for the next 15 minutes to answer all your questions. Anyone wants to take a lead? I also want to hear from anyone, whether it was clear. Anyone's? Please raise your hand if anyone want to say. Vivian Richard, was it clear? Hello? 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 Anyone's? Now, Aarti Gupta has raised the question that N7 is part of which chapter? Is a part of quality chapters, where we basically try to analyze where the defects, where the problems could happen. It's in the quality chapter you will find this. Hi Divakar, was it clear? I would like to hear also whether this was clear. I know I went too fast, but still. Sarvanan, okay, no question. Sarvanan, can you write whether this was clear? Was it audible, I mean? Okay, very good. Because I basically tried to give you the concepts part around. That was my focus today. Give you some practical tips and clarify the concepts around. I know I can't cover in 1 hour the whole book, but certainly I tried my best in that angle. Thank you, Divakar. Any clarification you want to take up in next 15 minutes? Vivin, I can hear I can see you. I'm getting confidence that you guys are all ready for passing this exam. Passing marks, I know, Divakar, the passing marks are, you know very well, 400 out of 600, that's a passing mark. Thank you, Thamotran. I think that's good. Again, my advice to you will be, you make a strategy for your presentations, your preparations. The organization development 26 question is a really good thing. I mean, easy questions, understanding, planning, project management. These 3-4 chapters are very easy. Again, somebody raised up this N7, which is part of which chapter? Again, I tell you, the quality chapter, the last one. N7 is mentioned there around. There we call affinity diagrams, is one of them out of the N7s. Then there's the tree diagrams, all those things are part of the N7. Audio is not working. I tried taking over the presentation. Okay, now I can see Setu Raman. Let me try. Setu, I can...
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm very much clearly able to hear you.
So nice of you. Nice to hear your voice.
Thank you, sir. Sir, it was a really great presentation from your end for the people, for us who are preparing for the ISM exam.
So nice. And wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, I was looking for a presentation like this where I can get ideas, what are the areas we need to prepare, and which are the key points which we need to go on before writing the exam. Okay. So I'm planning to take the exam on the December.
Very good. I'm delighted.
Thank you, sir. So the main concern what I had over here is that when a candidate who has a background into the production and planning, and he is taking up the CPSM exam, what is his career like? What exactly, where exactly we can find him, sir?
Sorry, could you just repeat again? Sorry, I didn't pick it up.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So currently I'm having a 7 year of experience in the SEM, from sourcing to planning, and currently I'm working with Flextronics Technologies as a production planner and material planner scheduler. So I just want to know, after completing the CPSA, so where exactly production control or MPS can find himself down the line?
No, if I understood Setu Raman, basically after completing this CPSM, I mean, you're basically getting a complete overview and knowledge and skills of the end-to-end. So basically you're preparing yourself to become the supply chain leader there.
Yes.
See, I mean, I can understand around, as you have seen around, the supply chain has become very complex and knowledge-based. So if you are doing all this, so once you've got a bigger picture, you could easily handle as a chain leader for the complete activities around. But if you look from the planning angle, then yes, from the planning angle, a lot of new tools are coming around, a lot of new apps has come around, which could be used in the ERP. I know in Flextronics you have an ERP. So your planning tools which you are using today, I don't know what type of tools you're using around, but I have come across many new applications which can prepare the reports, which can give you really flash on information where your week will be done next week. Every hour to hour reports.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Yes. Anyone want to raise hands? Okay, so Naveen, let me just unmute it and then you can, yeah. Naveen, can you hear me now? Hi Naveen. I'm sorry, I think that this is getting... Can you type it then? I think that is much better then. I know Divakar has raised the question hand.
Hello?
Yes, yes, please go ahead. Could you tell your name, please?
Divakar here.
Hi, Divakar. Good, nice to hear you.
Thank you, sir, and nice to. Actually, your presentation was very good, and it's very useful for us to prepare for the CPSM second exam.
Thank you.
Actually, I am also looking for having a presentation similar to for CPSM 1 exam also.
Okay, we will do it. I mean, we did first time this one in a very detailed way. So we will, if you feel this makes sense, we'll do it for 1 and 3 together.
Yes, sir. Because I am planning to take up the exam in December, so all the three exams.
No worry, we'll do it
at once. So I look forward for your presentation, and really this presentation was very useful for me.
Okay. Because we want this to work as a catalyst.
One more question, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one more question. I have gone through the professional series provided by ISM-India.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
And also now I'm going through the study guides.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I'm going through the study guides also. Is this sufficient for me to crack the exam?
I didn't get. Is it sufficient to crack the exam? This is what you're saying?
Yeah, I have gone through the professional series as well as study guides. Both the things.
Have you understood the concepts? Whatever chapter you're reading, you understand fully. If you understood and you're able to correlate, and you're able to correlate with your day-to-day life,
okay,
then you are ready for exam.
Okay.
Not a big issue.
Okay, sir. Fine. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? I know Naveen was there, raised the hand, but I didn't hear him. Naveen, you raised your hand. Do you have any questions? Then I think Pradeep Kumar Kamath is there, who raised the hand. Pradeep, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, Pradeep.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good, my pleasure.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, please go ahead.
Yes, sir, I just have a query because see, I wanted to buy this glossary of terms, but unfortunately, I think the website is the only option I could buy. So, is there any provision that ISM India can provide it so that I can buy it from India?
So far we have not taken lessons for that, so this is why, but maybe from next year's I'm thinking of, because very few people, I mean a whole year one copy somebody asked for. That's why we never took the lessons from them.
No, because see, in many areas, you know, the glossary has to be referred, and I think it's a quick refresher too.
Yeah. But you can refer this still online. If you are a member, you can go to ISMWS and you can check every terminologies. But only thing you'll have to refer online.
Online has some limitations. You know, I would like to have one book. So
I appreciate
it. It is much better.
I'm fully with you. Those who are in this profession, they want to have on their side glossary of term and professional series. These will go lifetime with you.
Yes, so I badly require that, sir.
Okay, very good. Now I can see Aarti has posed a question. Sir, can we have a question bank for each chapter? Now this is very tricky. Now because here, as you know, in America that culture is still missing. And I know in India we do it around, for each exam, 1 hour before we have 200, 400 questions. They don't recommend that much. They use question to understand the format of the question, nothing more than that. Now, Seturaman, you have anything? Let me see if your hand is there. Seturaman, can you hear me?
Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, great. Sir, as still the informations and whatever the other participants has been participated and raised the questions. So here we know that what exactly we have to go for and how we need to prepare. So as one of the other people said that they would like to see some more presentation on the exam 1 and exam 2.
We will do it.
So if you have that time, just let us know. We can also look into it.
Yeah.
So that will give much more idea for us to prepare for the December exams.
Okay. Technically now we are starting every week. Next week we are doing on different subject, but certainly for exam 1, exam 3 will come up soon.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Again, my request to all of you is, you go back, I have put down some of the questions under each chapters. Please remember them. If you do that, I think certainly you're going to pass through.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other last questions? I can see Gaurav, Naveen, but anyone's?
Hello. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. The Naveen Singh this side, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, Naveen. How are you? I was asking for you 2 minutes ago. How are you? Keeping well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good, sir. Actually, it's a very nice presentations, and this presentation will build up confidence to take the exams. But is it possible to we can get some practice questions answered so that we can do the practices, because continuously practice will keep in we can put our minds so many, if we like DataChem and other CDs are available in market. So can we use the DataChem CD or some this kind of CDs we can help us in practicing question answers?
I mean, I have taken up with headquarters many times, but they say, guys, I know some people have developed of their own, but they are not recommended by ISM headquarters. They only recommend diagnostic kit and DNA test. They say these questions are basically to help you to set up your mind frame, what type of question comes. Every time new questions are set up by them. Every time. You can imagine 250 people are working in headquarters alone. So they always design new questions, new areas, new things.
Because yeah, it was actually, I seen this lot of questions having multiple correct answers. So we need to find out exact answer. So that is sometime it will very difficult to catch the correct answers.
Naveen, I can tell you, once you read the books, you can easily, all of you, out of 4, you can cut 2 easily. You will be only stuck up with between the 2 choices, which can happen even with me sometime. So don't worry, out of 4, you can easily remove 2 once you've gone through both the books. 2 you will be able to do it. Then rest between the 2, sometime your gut feeling, sometime your depth of knowledge comes into it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Naveen. Take care. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Anyone?
Yes, I am Pradeep here, sir. Can
Yes,
you hear
Pradeep.
me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pradeep.
I would like to have certain reference of some supply chain security and insurance, transit insurance.
Okay.
Can you refer some book which I can use it for that?
Yeah, I agree with you. That is not covered in any of these chapters much, but there are separate guidebooks available, because I remember when we were doing for the United Nations insurance, there are different types of insurance, category 1, A, B, C, then what is covered under A category, what is covered under B. There are different books, London Charter. I can send you, get the copy around. Send me a quick email around, we'll get you some.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to have a reference of worldwide best-selling book for that. So.
No worry, we can help you. Ashoka, I can see now, raise the hand. Ashoka, can you hear us? Ashoka Reddy, can you hear us? Hello Ashoka, can you hear us? You raise your hand for the question. So. Hello. Okay guys, if nothing, then I want to thank you all and wish you all the best. Take care, but this should not be the end of it. This is still the beginning of our connections. Please do send us any questions, any clarifications. We'll be happy to answer. Okay, with this, I wish you all the best. Take care.